St.Yves, and today I'm talking to Ciaran Volke and Fred Krysko, two actors that are playing the title role in different ages, of course, of Steven in the Steven Truscott Story for Workshop Theatre. Thanks so much. I know you guys are right down to the wire for rehearsals. It opens in a couple of nights. Thank you so much for taking time to talk.
Our pleasure.
So I have no preference, whichever one of you wants to go first. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into getting this role.
Well, it was more by chance, actually. I actually finished up a play before this, and then I heard from my friends like, "Oh, you should try an audition for this," and so I thought, yeah, why not? And by chance, I got in.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And well, when I heard about it, I heard about the auditions. I wanted to be part of the project. I mean, the Steven Truscott Story, I was familiar with it, and I was fascinated by it. And also, working with the writer of the play intrigued me. I didn't care if I was the janitor on the set. I wanted to be part of it. So that's how I went for the audition and was fortunate.
How much did you know about the story from both of your perspectives, I suppose, before you got involved? And was this a particular thing that you wanted to be a part of, being such a, I mean, it's a dark part of Canadian history, but it's a big part of Canadian history too.
Well, for myself, I was born in '62. And the story started in '59, so clearly I wasn't familiar with it when it first started, but the CBC back in 2000 had a Fifth Estate episode, and it was basically when Steven was free but living under a different name, and he came into the public saying, yes, you know, I want my story out there now. And I saw that, and it affected me. It really did. I guess I was kind of blind to the atrocities that could happen in the justice system before that, and it stuck with me. And that was my introduction to it, and like I say, never left me. So again, when I saw this audition, I jumped in.
For yourself?
Well, you know, I only knew like tidbits of information about it, but my parents knew a lot about it. They also saw the Fifth Estate video, and like you know, my information wasn't as grandiose as, say, Fred, but, you know, once I got into this, you know, after researching and learning all about this, I thought, wow, like, it's haunting, but the fact that I can be a part of this, it really, it's amazing, you know.
Well, for yourself, considering, I'm sorry, how old are you?
16.
Wow, so I mean, you're not far off from when everything started to fall apart for Steven. Can you imagine having to go through what he went through?
I'd rather not. But, you know, I've thought about that a lot. I don't know what I would do. I feel like unlike Steve, I think I would feel trapped. But knowing how he is now, he's so vibrant and full of life now. It's almost like it never happened. And for me, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Are you looking forward to seeing how the audiences react to this story?
I can't wait. I really can't. I mean, first of all, obviously, I hope they're entertained. And I hope they're affected. You know, I hope they walk out of here going, I can't believe it. And I hope at times they're enraged. I hope at times they're amused. And I hope at times they're saddened and then filled with hope. I want them to go through all of that. I'd like them to anyways.
Yeah, it's important for the audience to think about it, you know, to really process what we are putting out to them. You know, this is important for everyone to know because it's such a dark moment in our history. And it's important to know our history in order to, you know, make sure something like this never happens again.
It's a frightening thought, and unfortunately it still does happen. So it's a bit of an eye-opener and a wake-up call, and to get the conversation started. I mean, if it weren't for this case, there would still be a death penalty in Canada. That's
very true. Yeah, I think this was maybe the pivotal case that abolished the death penalty finally. Thank goodness.
I'm hoping that there'll be some bit of a dialogue. You guys have a little bit of a meet and greet Friday night after the opening, after the show, so give it a chance for audience to get together with you guys.
Yeah, that'll be great. I just can't wait. I really just cannot wait. I want to get the people in here and yeah, just have them experience it, because I've got to say, you know, you're involved in a play as an actor, and you go through the rehearsal process. And for example, if it's a comedy, and you hear the same jokes over and over and over again, and the first few times it's funny, and then after that, they're not funny anymore because you've heard them so many times. Through going through this process and through every rehearsal, and we've run through this play so many times and the scene so many times, I'm still affected. As not as an actor, but even just as a person, being here and watching Steve go through this, and watching, you know, like hating the lawyers and falling in love with the strength of the man, and it keeps happening, and yeah, it blows me away. So again, I can't wait for the audience to experience that.
Yeah, basically what he said, it's so powerful, and it really does affect you in any way. Like, even if you're just an audience member or if you're an actor, like, it doesn't matter. You really get into the characters because they are real people, or they were real people, and yeah.
This is something that's a conversation starter and hopefully will be based on the production, but given the chance, if you had the possibility, is the justice system doing the right thing here? Are we on the right track by not having a death penalty? Is this a perfect example of why there should never be a death penalty in any country?
It's hard to get into a moral discussion because we could obviously debate it for hours, and I'd love to, but I think we don't have enough time. But you know, it's really hard. I mean, recently it came to light, and I don't remember the poor fellow's name, but back in the 50s, I believe, there was a 12-year-old boy who was convicted and sentenced to death and killed. And it's come to light recently that he likely was not guilty. And, you know, it saddens you. Now, I mean, yeah, certainly morally, I myself, as Fred, don't believe in the death penalty. I don't argue to people who do believe in it because I understand their argument. But I think you're very right when you say it opens a dialogue. I think dialogue is the most valuable thing we have in life, you know, for us to debate and to learn from each other. And I think if we can learn from the Steven Truscotts and the David Milgards and the Moran cases out there, I think we'll go a long way to improving our society.
Yeah, it's not as black and white as it sounds, and it's the same with a lot of aspects to society. You can't just take things for face value. You need to have dialogue. You need to look into things more, so you can create your own opinion, and, you know, have a fuller and more deep understanding of anything really in society.
I think the thing that affects people most about this story is that it happened to Steven when at such a young age. So his whole life he's had to have this. I mean, for 40 some odd years, he had to work to clear his name and live with this over his head. How do you convey that and have that progress over all the years for your audience?
That's hard to answer. It's really, you just need to imagine, like, how you would do it. It's really about how you would do it, because it's such a real and human dilemma, really. How can you convey this message? So it's hard to say.
Yeah, like Ciaran says, it's incredibly difficult. I mean, all you need to do really at a start is to well, right here, look into his eyes. And he's a young boy, and to know what he went through. But knowing that we'll never understand what he went through. We won't, because we didn't go through it ourselves. But like Ciaran says, you just have to try. I mean, I know that, you know, when I'm on stage, and I mean, we're surrounded by an incredible cast. And when they are, you know, in their role so strongly, I can't help but despise some of them, or feel gratitude towards some of them, or you know, whatever, feel pity towards some of them, because it is so strong. So while we do the best we can, and I think we do a good job.
Hopefully.
But hopefully, yeah. As a cast, I mean, I think we do. And but yeah, we will never ever get to exactly where he was, because only he knows. Only he knows. It's so difficult.
There is some still people out there that believe that he was the guilty party, regardless of how this is all washed out and how the story is being told. Do either of you think that he might be the guilty party in this?
I don't think he's guilty. And, you know, even just because I'm playing him, I really believe that he is not the one to blame here. You know, having gone through all this research and understanding who he was and who he is, it's really unimaginable to say that he did it.
Yeah, ditto. I mean, knowing what we know now, I can't imagine him being. In fact, there's been evidence that has been exposed that would certainly show that he likely did not do it, almost beyond the shadow of a doubt. We just don't have the ability to get rid of that shadow of a doubt because, for example, the evidence that they would need to do the DNA testing is no longer valid. It's just too old and can't be used. But that is the only thing stopping us from saying he is innocent. I think that everything else points towards his innocence. That, as well as the fact that there has arisen the awareness of other suspects who, in my opinion, and I think the opinion of a lot of people, were much greater suspects at the time. They were just ignored.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just too much evidence out there. But again, healthy debate is what it's about. You know, I think if it opens up debate, I work 9 to 5, and when I told people at work that I was involved in the show, and if they were, you know, obviously younger than me perhaps and were unaware of the whole thing, they would say, yeah, Steven Truscott, didn't he murder a young girl?
Yeah.
You know, and at first it bothered me. I thought, no, what the heck, no. But I guess now thinking about it, it's not a bad thing if we debate things like that. It brings it out. But if you ask my opinion, there's no way he's guilty. Absolutely not.
Even like before all of this started, like from what I did know, I did assume that he did it. But really, if you take the time to, I don't know, see the show or just, you know, research and learn about all this, you really do start to believe in him. It's quite crazy.
Well, I'm loving the fact that there's a great opportunity here to have a dialogue open up. Ciaran Volke, Fred Krysko, two of the actors playing Steven Truscott in the Steven Truscott Story, opening up February 27th, running to March 7th at the Pump House Theatre for Workshop Theatre, written by Louis B. Hobson. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.